Most people are quite confused about how their head should be organized relative to their shoulders. The common advice out there says to pull them both back. On its face, it's pretty ridiculous to advise pulling multiple parts of the body back without any counter movements to balance things out. But pulling your head and shoulders back is not even close to good advice from the perspective of lengthening and widening the back. Today, we're going to create a simple concept using the shape of a trapezoid. The bottom corners of the trapezoid will be the upper ends of the arms. The top corners of the trapezoid will essentially be the cheekbones. What we want to do first and foremost is to widen the bottom corners of the trapezoid. Since we want to widen the back, we want to pull the shoulder blades apart. By pulling the upper arms away from each other and getting the tips of the elbows to point out, as we looked at in an earlier episode, we will get the shoulder blades further apart. We also want to widen the upper corners of the trapezoid. One way to play with this widening is to press in on the cheekbones with your fingers and see what you have to do to produce a counter movement that pushes against that pressure. There are muscles in your head that can do that. The second idea is that we want to expand the distance between the top corners and the bottom corners by lifting the top and lowering the bottom. This will obviously produce a stretch as the trapezoid gets bigger. One nuance here, though, is that you don't want to drop your rib cage at all. The arms and shoulders will likely have some room to go down, but that can never become dropping the rib cage. So make sure your rib cage is rolling up the wall while you do this, like we looked at in an earlier episode. These two ideas will produce due tension in the upper torso, neck, and head area, and will help you keep your head high. It's funny that there's so much advice out there around pulling your head back, but so few state the obvious, that we want our head to be high. The last idea is where the big difference comes. If we look at the trapezoid from the side, we will only see an angled line, since the cheekbones are forward relative to the shoulders. Good posture, bad posture, or otherwise, that is almost certainly what you'll see. However, we want the top of the trapezoid to be forward of the ribcage, in particular the lower end of the sternum. Even the bottom of the trapezoid should be in line with the front of the ribcage, or at least close. The only way that this will be possible is if you get the lower end of your ribcage back. We don't need to go way forward with the trapezoid. We need to go back with the lower sternum and lower ribcage, without allowing the upper torso to go back as well. Again, watch the video on rolling the ribcage up the wall to see how we want to do that. Combining these movements will produce a head that is very far up and also forward of the body. That is what will stretch the back and pull up on the top of the thoracolumbar fascia. This is not at all hunching. Hunching involves lowering the ribcage or head and neck. We are not doing that. Remember when I said pulling parts of the body back with no counter movement was a bad idea? This is why. If you pull your head and shoulders back, your midsection is going to go forward. It has to. And if we want our head to be forward and up, we have to get the midsection back. We are counterbalancing the rib cage being rolled back and up at the lower end with this expansion of the trapezoid as it goes forward and up. These ideas can help you open your airway. Your breathing might feel strange at first as air begins to flow into your lungs without you needing to suck it in. Try speaking or singing. You may find improved control. And you should notice your shoulders expanding, your back widening, and your arms being able to hang further out relative to your rib cage. If you try these ideas out, let me know your experience. There are many moving parts here, so it'll take time. The expansion of the trapezoid you get on day 1 will be nothing compared to day 31 or 101. So give it a little time and give it some thought.